Hey ballers, welcome to If These Balls Could Talk, where we talk about the latest in sports, tech, and pop culture. As a reminder of the format, we come up with 4 topics without the other's knowledge. And if you like what you hear or see, please like us or hit that subscribe button. Or as we like to say, or at least I like to say, tickle that little bell.
Mark, you want to go
I think
again?
that's all you, Mark.
What do you mean?
No, it just you mumbled like twice. So I was just
You mumbled twice.
It's all good, man. It's all good. How is
I
everybody?
swear I've done this before.
Happy Thursday night. My favorite night of the week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that, John?
Because I miss you guys.
Aw,
Janice is here.
I miss you guys too.
Janice.
That's right.
Hey.
Yes.
We want to welcome back to the podcast our friend Janis Robare. Good evening, Janice, and how are things with you?
Thank you for having me again. I don't know. I'm pretty good. I'm busy. It's summer. It's wild.
It is summer.
All your
Things are
children
good.
are home. That's great.
They're home with me 24 hours a day, and it's insane. But
I bet.
no.
You're like, oh, you guys are still here.
We
Why would you
constantly
laugh at?
question what we're doing with our lives, but it's good.
John, how you been?
I'm really good, man. I'm really good. Getting ready to go on vacation. Getting ready at the end of vacation to go to Mark's birthday party. Happy almost birthday, Mark, even though it passed like 2 weeks ago.
Yes, but this one counts because I can drink now.
That's right. This one counts because
the
you can
real
drink.
birthday party.
The movie of the week for Jamie and I, we are into the Hunger Games. We are devouring them. I did not watch past Hunger
That's
Games.
the
2.
right-
I get it. Devour
That's
the
the
Hunger
right word
Games
for that.
Yeah.
Love it.
I did not get to Hunger Games past 2 when they came out back 10, 12 years ago. Yeah, they're really good. Really very compelling. I'm trying to be like, Jamie, look at all this really great YA fiction that happens to be movies. Like, let's watch a little bit of it, but then let's read it. So that's where we're doing right now with that. Or at least that's what Melanie and I's plan was. I have taken ice cream to a different place. We're going to Emac and Bolio's on Delaware. Not a sponsor, but you could be really very, very good.
Fancy ice cream.
And I poured too much bourbon, but it's delicious. This is actually Helderberg bourbon, which is like literally the neighborhood that I'm in. So I figured that would be neat. So how's your week, Mark?
Wait, does that mean like one of your neighbors made the bourbon?
Yeah, pretty much. I asked him. He was at. We have a
Questionable.
Greek festival every year. I asked him, where did you distill the bourbon? And he's like, well, actually, there's a story to that. And he just gave Schenectady Distillery some money, and they let him have a bourbon bin.
Ah,
They're just like, here are some of our things. Would you
That's
like to
cool.
make liquor? Yeah, you can just rent it. I'm sure that all the medium to small size distilleries around us, Schenectady Distillery, Albany Distillery, they're not using all their stuff all the time because they're not that big yet. So I don't know. That's all supposition. How are you, Mark?
Mark is much better now that he can eat and drink like a normal human being again. The race was last week, of which I did horribly, but I only had my 2 goals. Don't die and don't come in last. Successfully accomplished both.
You're here, so there you go.
Did any speedwalkers beat you?
Yes, they did actually.
Oh, wow. Can't underestimate those speedwalkers, man. They're quick.
There was a stretch of road where I could see like so far ahead of me, and I got a little bit discouraged because I don't like to see that far ahead of when I'm running, and I don't want to see all those people that are ahead of me.
Yeah.
Plus, it was really hot and humid, and my body does not behave well in hot humidity. Like it just wants to just stop working.
Also, we keep getting older. Nobody asked. We just keep getting older.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Gotta
if
fill
you
me in.
Couldn't.
What
do
race
that.
was this?
This was called the Blessing of the Fleet, which is down in Narragansett.
Okay.
I was what Narragansett is like a beach town down in Rhode
Yeah, I
Island.
did the half marathon there once.
I was actually I thought it was going to be a little bit closer to the water, so the heat and humidity wouldn't be as bad, but it did go a little bit inland as well. I was not a big fan of this race. They didn't really show you the race course. When I got there, I had to kind of search everywhere just to pick up my bib. And like
I hate
the
that.
photos weren't organized. Like it just wasn't organized like a regular race. So I personally didn't really enjoy it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do it again. But I mean, I was able to finish it, and I didn't die. So
Hey, you're here. You did a race. That's pretty freaking cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, success. That's success.
And I'm just hoping that my friend who potentially could be listening doesn't remember that I told him that I'd do a half marathon in September.
Did you leave him there?
Oh no,
Don't
he
leave
didn't do this race.
Don't
He didn't
leave
do
a
that
man
race.
behind, Mark.
He didn't do that race. No, I was the man left behind. In fact, there was like two groups of people I kind of went with that race with, or were actually going to hang out with. One of the groups just decided to up and leave because I think I was just taking too long.
Oh no.
They're like, Mark, you're being too slow, buddy. We gotta go.
I know, but I didn't come in last, so whatever.
That's good, man. I would have came in
Pete,
last. I'm very
Pete, how
slow.
you doing?
It's been a week. So we had the services for my grandma in Western New York. We did a little toast to her in the last episode. She's 105 years old, passed away last week. So it was really nice to see all my cousins and family, at least for that. So it made it, as good of a weekend as you can imagine, considering the circumstances. So that was really nice. Nice send off and nice celebration of a long, long life that was filled with a lot of greatness. So, so then we got back here.
One for Graham.
Yeah.
Come on, let's do
right.
it. One more time.
One more time.
There you
For Grandma Stefan.
Cheers.
Okay. Let's see. Then we got back and I proceeded to work a ton, and then we find out this morning as Steph got a scratchy throat and stuffy nose, and Liam started having a stuffy nose. They tested for COVID, and it was yes. And I'm like, I feel fine, and I've never had it. It's been like 4.5 years since the pandemic. Yeah, I did a test, and I also have it. First time. So far asymptomatic.
It's actually amazing that you haven't had it.
I really tried to avoid it.
I only had it once.
Yeah, this is
Knock on wood. I never tested positive for COVID once.
wow.
That doesn't.
Wow.
That
Mark's
totally
still
means you never
going.
had it, Mark.
I know.
It's
I know.
possible.
That doesn't
right?
mean I've never had it.
Totally
I've
means
just
it.
never tested positive.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe I had it asymptomatically before, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time. Like, I've always tested here or there, and it never came up, or any time that I've been sick, it's always been a negative test. So not this time. So
Hopefully you stay asymptomatic.
yeah, here's hoping. And here's hoping that Steph and Liam are good and just have the sniffles pretty much, which is the
that's what
amount
it
that
is,
they've
man.
had so far. Yeah, it is much
4
more
years in.
mild for the most part.
And-
Some people still get unlucky, and there's that long COVID.
Endemic
horrible
state,
stuff.
just like we always knew. I mean,
Yeah, it has to evolve its way to, actually spread to
it's gonna
people
be-
without
it's
killing
gonna be
people.
a thing forever,
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the flu.
just like the flu.
Man. All right. So with that news, and also totally watching a ton of the Olympics. That's super exciting. To
We're
bring it
going
back
over
up.
all the cool stories in the Olympics. We're going to talk about the Olympics a bunch.
Yeah,
tonight.
I'm super
we're going
excited.
over all the cool stories, and it's been a really cool, it's been a really good week for the world. I think, besides all the other shit that's going on, the Olympics has been a really bright spot. I think
It's been really cool.
I agree completely.
Bravo to Paris, with the exception of to tease it, some of the Olympic athletes' conditions for housing.
Yeah, we will definitely be
we'll
talking
get to
about that. But first, we're gonna do our guest segment. Now, sometimes we ask some questions. Other times we have the guests kind of bring up some topics on their own. But we're gonna do something a little bit different this time around. We're bringing back a segment where everyone gets to decide between two choices. That's right, everyone. It's time to pick your balls.
Oh,
Oh,
do we have a soundbite
Now
for
it-
that?
The sound
should.
questionable.
Yeah, that's a soundbite. It's aw.
we need that
Now-
my friend Steve meme.
In this rendition, I'll offer everyone two choices, and we will pick on, for this case, who we would rather have dinner with.
And
Okay.
why? It's a conversation show.
Yes, we'll have a conversation about them. So, first one, Ryan Reynolds or Hugh Jackman?
Easy choice, Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds all
Easy
day.
choice.
all day.
Easy choice.
Don't tell George. He's like
But
my
Hugh
celebrity
Jackman might
crush.
serenade you.
I think I'm going to go with Hugh Jackman here, just to change it up.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds would
Plus he
come to you
owns
after you made that
a
decision
soccer
and
team.
and convince you that the decision was wrong. Yeah, and he owns a soccer team.
He
He owns
probably
a
would.
soccer team.
And you know
Winner.
what?
Done.
him going over to convince me while I'm already having dinner with Hugh Jackman means then I get both. So there you go. Work the system.
I think that there are, and we all probably have one or two of them in our lives, but there's people with natural charisma, and Ryan Reynolds has natural charisma.
Totally.
For sure.
He could sell you a toilet. Like, I mean,
that is a true fact.
He could. He'd be like, "This toilet, awesome. You should pay for it." Ryan Reynolds is the guy who went and bought Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile, right? And if you don't remember what Mint Mobile was, it's because Ryan Reynolds bought it and sold it to T-Mobile for like $1 billion.
I mean, he did well with it. Aviation Gin, he did well with that. Anything, and now Wrexham with Rob McElhenney.
Yep, he took
right?
the Wrexham Football Club, which is in Wales, and it was kind of a nothing team. They weren't ranked in any division, and he was like, you know what, we could sell this. And Rob McElhenney, right, always selling in Philadelphia. The story goes, if anybody who hasn't heard it from us or them yet, he was like, this team, this city is like a lot like Philly. I think we could do a really cool thing with it, and they did.
Aren't they Premier League now, or are they close?
They're not Premier League. They've had 2 promotions.
Okay,
so they are 2 full ranks in, but there's I think 5 ranks of the ranked soccer leagues.
Okay,
so they're like
they
3
got a couple
more
leagues to go. Okay.
I also don't think you can get promoted into the Premier League. I think you need to be asked to enter the Premier League because it's a little bit of like a cash flow money thing. Like like
they keep at it, they'll get there.
Like Man U, right? Man U, biggest football club in the world, right? Anyway, that went long, Mark. Keep going.
Yeah. All right, second one, and it's related to the first one. Deadpool or Wolverine?
Wolverine all day. I mean, right? I think Wolverine probably, all in all, my favorite comic book character of all time.
He's always been my favorite X-Men. Yeah.
So complex, so cool, so powerful. The X-Men love triangle was always really interesting. His powers are awesome. He once got ripped in half by the Incredible Hulk and had to drag himself to the bottom half of his body, put himself back together. I mean, Wolverine's a beast.
And
literally.
calls people Bub.
I do feel though, like when it comes to dinner, I don't know. I think I'd be a little bit scared to have dinner with Wolverine.
Oh, that's a really good point.
That's
I think
true.
I would.
Like,
yeah,
Deadpool
that's a
would
good
just
point.
be kind of like entertaining and fun and like make jokes and whatever.
Deadpool can break the fourth wall too. That is a legitimate superpower of his.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting.
For those who've seen the movie, it is really hard to eat with Deadpool when he has his mask off.
Yes, for sure.
Well, maybe,
So-
yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
So
Pros
All
and
right,
cons
moving
of
on.
both.
Moving on. Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes?
Tom Brady.
Janice, that was quick.
I'm not a big Mahomes fan. That's the
Really? Oh, we must spill the tea
I
on
think
this.
it's an unpopular opinion, but I don't know. Just something about him. I don't
Something
know what it is.
about him.
I'm gonna say Patrick Mahomes, and it's because
You hate Tom
I
Brady?
think Tom Brady might be an asshole. And
That
I
might
think
be true too.
I think Brittany Mahomes is an asshole, but I don't think Patrick Mahomes is an asshole. So she's not invited,
Interesting.
even if she brings Taylor.
I'm good.
Pete, what about you?
No,
yeah,
I'm-
I was gonna say, I was like, I if I could have put Josh Allen or anyone else, and I know you picked Josh Allen,
but-
so I purposely did not put.
That's
Josh
fine.
Allen on.
I mean, hey, Mahomes is the greatest quarterback playing, and Brady is probably the greatest that ever played. So it's a valid pairing. You know, I'm fine admitting
But
that.
you just
I
skipped
just don't
dinner
like
that
them
day?
because they're the enemy.
You're like, I'm not going to dinner, Mark. Christ.
Maybe someday
I'm
when
not hungry.
maybe someday
I'm
when
not
Mahomes is
hungry.
retired, I'll pick his brain.
I'm not hungry, Mark. How insensitive. Jesus.
All right, moving on. Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi?
Hmm.
I would just say I don't know if Ronaldo eats dinner because he has like a 36 pack.
He does.
Well, he's got to eat at least like protein.
Yeah, you
I
eat like
think
7,000
He just eats
calories a
meat.
day of cod.
Ronaldo, and only
Yes.
because Ronaldo is more ridiculously wealthy than Messi, I think he still has the highest professional sports contract in the world.
So you don't think Ronaldo is an asshole?
No, I mean they're definitely assholes. They're both.
I don't think Messi is. There's something about Messi that like I
mean-
think he's a little bit more down to earth.
For Messi to try
Just-
to become an ambassador to like the sport in this country too. I would go Messi.
I agree. I think that's the reason I'd pick Messi.
I mean, Ronaldo
Now,
would just be
let's-
staring at himself all
Let's
in the
just
mirror
hold
like
up.
the whole dinner.
Essentially
I
retired.
mean, if I looked like Cristiano Ronaldo, that's what I would do.
Essentially retired Messi got offered $1 jillion to play for Miami, whatever, and he came here just like Beckham and all the other ones that come here to die, and he's like, yeah, I'm really very interested in the sport of soccer in America.
Well, to be fair, Ronaldo got literally paid $1 jillion to play in Saudi Arabia.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, but neither of them are ambassadors. Let's just put that out there. They
Well,
really
all right,
like
fine.
money and being really ridiculously wealthy. Did anybody watch Ronaldo's wife's show on Netflix?
I didn't know she had a show on Netflix.
What show?
I didn't know Ronaldo had a wife.
They did like a reality show of being married to Cristiano Ronaldo, and it was I didn't watch it, but there was lots of trailers.
Everyone's
Is
trying
she
to be
just-
the next
is-
Kardashian.
Yeah, I was gonna
Kardashian.
say, is
Oh
she
my
just
God.
as pretty as he is?
So beautiful.
Huh. How many packs does she have in her abs? Who
I don't
has
know.
more? Who has more ab muscles?
Do you think they wash their clothes on their abs?
I mean, I
They probably
would.
could. They probably
Yeah, it's
could.
probably just more convenient.
They don't wash their own clothes.
That's
Oh,
true.
that- yeah,
They don't
that's
wash
true.
their own clothes.
That's
Better-
true, Janice. Let's be honest.
That's a
Let's
good
be
way to end that
honest.
one.
Well, maybe the housekeeper like cleans the clothes on their abs. You know,
Yeah, maybe.
The lucky housekeeper.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
it's a thing. All right. We're gonna move a little bit away from sports now. Pete, you might like this one: Penn or Teller?
Which is the one that doesn't talk.
Yeah, I
That would be
forget
Teller.
honestly.
That would be Teller.
So then Penn. Penn's funny and Teller's a mute. So,
Yeah.
That's easy.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna go
agree.
pen on that too.
That's easy.
It'd just be awkward.
It would be weird. He'd be making his
Right?
little faces,
like
and he's so
stare at each other.
tiny. Like
Yeah, I don't-
I like to be the shortest guy in the room. There's no room for anybody else.
Keep in mind, Teller can talk. He just doesn't do it for the show.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe me? Have you ever seen The Big Bang Theory? Because he was in cameo in that. He was Amy's father in The Big Bang Theory. He also did. They also did a guest spot on Conan, I think it was. And he actually did a little thing. It's like Conan, like something like that.
Huh.
Do it again. Do it again, Mark.
Conan. That's literally what he did. Look it
So-
up. Look it up.
Amazing.
So just quick research here. Teller does apparently speak as articulate as anyone, contributing to discussions, giving interviews, and performing voiceover work when not performing as a magician. So maybe he would talk
mean
in
he-
dinner if you
mean
if
he
you were
does
deemed
really
worthy.
talk?
He does.
What?
In fact,
What?
talk.
In fact,
So you know
Maybe
what?
that would be
I'm
more
going to switch to
interesting, though.
Teller because I want to hear what
I
this man
know.
has to say.
that's just a
See?
research department bomb.
See?
No,
I did.
still Penn.
I would say so. When he did his guest spot on The Big Bang Theory, at first he didn't have a lot of lines, so they kind of teased like, "Yeah, this is everyone knows this is Teller. He doesn't normally talk." But as soon as he, started talking, then he said a lot in the show,
Okay.
and it was a pretty funny character too because he was just a regular easygoing guy, and he had an overbearing wife, and it was a pretty funny character.
Amazing.
Nice.
All right, we're gonna get a little musical here. Britney Spears or Taylor Swift?
Taylor
Ooh.
Swift. Britney Spears is a little bit of a mess.
Yeah, but
Wouldn't you think that would
don't
be
know,
it'd
though,
make for
the
interesting dinner?
stories-
Though?
I'd be
No. No, the girl dad in me is too concerned about Britney Spears' well-being.
Even more reason to have dinner with Britney
No,
to tell
I
her
don't
how.
want to. I don't want to take part in it.
I want to I want to hear her side
hear
of
no
it.
evil, see
like,
no evil.
I mean, like Steph read her
side
book, and
is
there is
that-
so much crap that she got set up for and like manipulated into and drugged
didn't.
into.
She didn't write that book.
No, but she definitely input everything to it. Sure, I mean, a lot of celebrities get a ghostwriter; they're not authors themselves.
I'd like to talk to Taylor about what it's like being a genius songwriter, billionaire businesswoman. Honestly,
Marketing machine. That's what she is.
also a genius songwriter, billionaire businesswoman.
It
I
would
got
be
you,
fun
Steph.
because she is.
I got you, Steph.
She is also a music nerd
Yeah.
too. Well, I mean, it's tough because I know Steph would love to talk to both of them for different reasons. So
Right.
Wow, she would pick Taylor. Let's be
All right.
honest.
How about Minnie or Mickey Mouse?
Hmm.
Probably Minnie.
Yeah.
I think so.
I kind of want to ask Mickey if he's okay talking about checking in with people with problems.
Especially now that his copyright infringement or his copyright
my
deal
God.
is
That's
out.
just Steamboat Willie. That's just Steamboat Willie. Only one version of Mickey Mouse.
Oh,
Did you see how fast everything appeared?
Oh, so
with him in it?
fast, so
like the
fast.
second that ran out, like people had like video games with the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse programmed into them, like that launched the day that the patent went out. And it's like, how long have you been developing?
Wasn't
this?
there a horror one?
Yeah, it was creepy as hell. It was like
it
this.
was a horror one.
It was a film
yeah.
noir horror game where like a creepy version of like Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse was like running into rooms attacking you.
Gotta tell you, what a great fucking idea. Infinitely playable.
That was like the mod for sorry to go off on a tangent where somebody replaced like
The whole
this.
show is a tangent.
That's true. Somebody replaced like this big zombie monster in like Resident Evil game or a Silent Hill game with Thomas the Tank Engine, and it was way creepier with the lighting and stuff.
Totally.
Just have this Thomas the Tank Engine chasing you through this mansion the whole time with his freaking smile. You're like, oh god.
All right. How are we doing on time? I got 3 more.
I haven't been keeping track.
Okay. I'm going to do
So
it.
just finish because it's 15 minutes. It's totally fine.
All right. This is going to be an interesting one. Michael Keaton as Batman or Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice?
That's a very good question.
Isn't it?
I would say that Beetlejuice would be more fun to have dinner with.
Yeah?
Because Bruce Wayne in general is kind of a stick in the mud.
Especially if it's Batman, like that side of his persona. I don't know. What do you think, Janice?
Yeah.
I have a hard time thinking about having dinner with Beetlejuice.
How
That
so?
Say it
seems-
again.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be careful.
Anyone
It
planning on
just seems
seeing
like a
the sequel?
lot. Like sitting across
I
the
know,
table
I
from
know.
him, be like, I don't think I would have anything to say.
I mean, I'm 100%.
He would suck the
going
energy
to
right
see
out
it.
of it, like all from the room into him.
Like, for sure. The idea of choosing Jenny Ortega to be Winona Ryder's daughter, I think, and I love her, Jenny Ortega, so I think the movie's gonna be great.
That's a great pairing.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
Well, like it's like whatever, however much time passed, they're like, that much time has passed.
Yep.
I finally have to call him back.
Yeah, when I heard that Ortega was in it, that's a great passing of the torch to
Wonderful.
two similar
Absolutely.
actresses that have played those kind of roles so well.
And she wants to be she wants to be that. She wants to be what Winona Ryder was. She
Sure.
wants to be a horror princess, and so she totally is. It's
She's
a perfect-
killing it
She
in the
is.
show Wednesday.
She is.
Oh my god, Wednesday's so good.
All right, moving on. The cast of The Office or the cast of Friends?
The Office for me, hands down.
The Office. I agree.
I think Friends, because again, we're talking about having a nice time.
Do you get to bring Matthew Perry back?
I mean, sure.
Wouldn't you have a nice time with The Office?
Okay, all right.
cast?
All right. Not necessarily the characters, but the actors.
Oh, then The Office.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, because
Hmm.
the cast of
Yeah.
Friends is like, Matt Perry. He's not here anymore.
Yeah. Well, if he could come back,
Well,
like, just for this dinner.
I don't know. So I've met a lot of people in The Office, the cast from the convention that I did a couple years ago, and they're just a close knit family, and they all stay in touch with each other. It's actually kind of amazing how close that cast is compared to.
You guys listen to the Office
I mean,
Ladies podcast?
They still have a fantasy football
do.
league, I think, don't they?
Yeah. Now the cast of Friends was like when they were early on, they all kind of like were close knit too.
I'm
They
sure,
had that
yeah.
whole thing. They had that whole thing like they all had to get paid equally regardless of
Yep.
how big the show got and whatnot. So, but I mean, they're all older now and they're all doing their separate things. And yeah, I think The Office would be the better choice.
I agree.
All right, last choice, and this is gonna make people mad. Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Oh God.
I mean,
How could
not
you even
Donald-
ask that?
Not Donald Trump. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Trying to
gonna
start
be
fights.
that's gonna be me forever. Not Donald Trump.
Can we just pick that either?
Yeah.
You're not hungry.
Did you guys?
Yeah,
did, you guys
this might be another pass for me
hungry
too.
now.
did you guys hear Donald Trump's rant on whether or not he would stay in a sinking battery operated ship or go punch a shark?
What?
Okay, so he rants. He's like, in his Donald Trump thing, and I'm just giving you the cliff notes because you really have to listen to it. He's talking to an MIT professor, and he asked the MIT professor. He says, "Listen, what if the ship is going down? We're talking about electric boats."
Yeah.
I was like, okay, Mr. President, what if the ship is going down? Okay, what if the ship is going down over this very powerful battery? It's so powerful, so much electricity, and a shark is coming. What would I do? Would I stay on the boat and get electrified, or go and fight the shark? Recorded. This is recorded. This is
I
an
think
ex-president
I
of the
think I
United
remember
States.
this.
An ex-president of the United States.
This is kind of old news in terms of the news.
I do remember
Oh
this.
no,
though.
it's very old. It happened months ago.
I mean,
And,
he's now in trouble with another group of people because he kind of spoke ill of black people in front of a bunch of black journalists.
Yeah,
I
that was a
I
pretty
just
big-
had Melanie
pretty big
listen
gaffe
to
there.
that. I think she's listening to it right now, and it is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think this man knows how to say the inside stuff.
No,
to keep the inside stuff in.
It makes me uncomfortable listening
It
back
makes
to
everybody
that.
uncomfortable.
It's like, oh my gosh.
They're literally
tense
the
moment
Empire.
there on stage.
I may not go that. I don't know that woman's name, but go that. She totally served him up to dry. An ex-president of the United States
It was all
served him up.
It was all fair statements too.
Yeah.
It's all
She
based on stuff he said.
roasted
So
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
you say that stuff, you got to own up to it.
All right, we have picked each other's balls.
Successfully.
Great.
We would like to thank this week's fake
Janice
sponsor.
is like, fuck you guys.
Yeah. Precisely.
We would like to thank one of this week's fake sponsors, Ultimate Fan Face Paint. Show your team spirit with Ultimate Fan Face Paint. Our vibrant, long-lasting colors are perfect for any game day. Ultimate Fan, wear your passion.
I love the variety of these products that you come up with for sponsors.
We have lots of fake sponsors. All right, everyone, are we ready to kick off this shindig?
Yeah.
By the way, I have some sad news. I have ran out of songs.
Oh
For next
no.
topic.
All right, guys, we got to help out Mark here. He's been carrying the torch pretty handily here for next topic
I like
introduction.
I like
Sound
to
bites.
ask Mark to sing to me.
Unless I repeat some.
That's fine.
You could
All
just
right.
come up with one.
I will swallow my pride. It's the first topic time, but the lack thereof will leave me empty inside.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just realized I also lied. I had like 2 songs that I haven't done.
You're such an asshole.
I am an asshole. Anyway, so one of the bigger stories leading up to this year's Olympics was the water quality of the Seine River, where athletes would compete in the triathlon.
It's poopy.
There have been many reports of high content of bacteria, including E. coli, most likely from sewage seeping into the water after heavy rains. Now, this was enough to postpone the race for one day, but ultimately they competed in it because, bacteria just goes away in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Now, believe it or not, there was also another report that Paris actually spent $1.5 billion to clean up the river in preparation for the games.
That seems like too much.
It seems like too much,
It's a
too.
lot of money.
It's not that much water.
So, everyone, who's to blame for the water quality of the Seine and for these Olympic events to be postponed?
Parisians?
I mean,
I mean,
So what, they should stop pooping?
yes.
a little bit. I mean, they should stop pooping in the river.
Right.
Let's just.
Well,
We
Are
talked
they
about
pooping
this last.
directly
We
in the
talked
river?
about this last
yeah,
week.
did we leave
There
off last episode? So we got to catch Janis up here. So we were talking about like Olympics and the setup for Paris because it was before the game started and how they were trying to clean up the Seine. And right, didn't the mayor announce like the river is clean? And then a bunch of Parisians were like, no, it is not. And then they just started pooping in it.
Like
What?
I like
Just
your
just to
accent,
spite the
Pete.
mayor.
No, what they did was they set up a website that calculated when to poop in the Seine and where, so that it would reach where the mayor was swimming when he was swimming.
that's what it was. Okay.
Poop calculus. It was
They
a hack.
scienced the
dedication.
shit out of it.
Right.
They scienced the shit out of it, literally.
Janice can come up with the
mean,
math for that right now.
Terrible.
Listen, I don't know.
I'm rusty.
I think that we can
We'll give
say
you some time
that
to
you know
prep.
public infrastructure
Thanks.
in every country needs help. It's a public infrastructure problem. I could say that the idea of doing events in a major river in the middle of a major city is fucking stupid. So it's the IOC's fault.
It's very
Say-
bold.
It's very bold. It's a major. If the Olympics are ever in New York, no one is swimming in the fucking Hudson.
Right, that's what I was going to compare it
Yeah.
to. Right?
No one.
That's what this
No,
is.
We got a giant river too, but it will make you grow a tail. So no.
Yeah, Paris is
No.
easily the
You'll
New
be
York
fine with
City
bacteria.
of
You'll
France.
just have another
It's
limb.
Yeah,
yeah.
that might
So-
help with the swimming. So.
I
Maybe.
think honestly, in general, it was a pretty
Get a little
fucking stupid
arm and,
idea.
like-
It was almost as stupid as the big giant country boats. I didn't really like that. I thought that was kind of dumb.
I thought that was
When you
kind of
saw-
cool, actually.
When you saw LeBron at the end of the country boat, it was like the scene in Infinity War where Thor is leading all the Asgardians away from the broken husk of Asgard. I mean, it's like
I forgot. There was one country, though, that like didn't. It only had like 10 athletes competing, and they were like, screw all you guys with your giant boats. We're getting our own boat. And there was this like little dinghy that came by with this one country in it. I think it was like Botswana or something.
what a
Yeah,
giant
like,
we got our own
effing
boat.
that
I was
the
wondering
US
how they like
brought.
chose boats because the boats were all different. So.
I know. I remember them specifically saying they put Iran and Iraq on separate boats, and they had to like change the order because of that. Like they had to divide the boats at that point.
Oh.
I guess they were not happy
That
with
is-
each other.
Weird. I mean, it's like I think that is Israelis, and you're like, no, they shouldn't be together, you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there were a couple of those where like they were very specifically sorted because of like
Do you think
national
Russia's pissed that
rivalries.
they're not there? Does it make Putin lose sleep at night?
I mean,
that
the
he wasn't
athletes
invited to
are,
the
and
Olympics?
I understand the athletes' pain. I feel for them. It sucks that your
Yeah.
country let you down.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it probably just means that he has to pay them less money to go there.
He doesn't pay them. It's Russia.
No. He probably pays for them to go there.
He doesn't pay for them to go there. It's Russia.
It's a state-run. No, come on. They
that's-
must have to do something.
You'll make your way to an Olympics.
That's something that I could.
Stupid athletes.
No, I could definitely see Russia splurging on that. Though. Like that's a
we
big
do
pride
not
thing.
splurge on anything but turnips.
What?
Turnips.
Pretty good accent.
That was good.
Turnips. There you go. Yeah.
So I read a couple articles and wrote down some quotes. So the athletes, most of them were like, yeah, this happens like all the time. So
Really?
it
Swimming
was
in
like
dirty
nothing
water?
to the athletes. Like, yeah, swimming in dirty water.
Okay.
So here are some of the quotes. So Cassandra Beaugrand of France, who actually won the triathlon. This was her quote: "I have no doubts about the quality of the Seine, but we've swum in worse water."
Wow.
Okay.
South Africa's Jamie Riddle said, "I'm definitely going to be visiting the bathroom later.
No.
I swallow gallons and gallons of water, so this is going to be a fun post-race party."
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
That's fucking gross.
That's what I was
it's-
thinking about. Like their perspective. It's
Sure.
like, I would never want to jump in that water.
No,
That's
I
the-
wouldn't.
Just the iron will of these athletes that shows you like under the most ridiculous circumstances.
Like this is their life. So
Sure. I mean, right. I'm sure they would regret it if they like were timid and like refused to open their mouth to breathe because they were afraid of getting a little bit of Seine water, you know. What's a little bit of E. coli in there?
What's a little bit of poopy?
Their bodies are so amazing they would just like defeat it immediately anyway.
maybe.
And then another article got a quote from Dr. Adalja, who's a senior scholar at Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security and a spokesperson for the Infectious Diseases Society of America. This is what he says: "Anytime you jump into a body of water, not just a Seine, not just a city river, you have to recognize you're not jumping into sterile water."
Yeah, but there's a difference between like a nice chlorinated pool or like, you know, a clean lake.
And also competing in a race of this nature.
Right.
I mean, I think
And just
Not
to share
just like me
like
going with my kids to a lake, but
and just the
this
sheer
is
amount of
like-
time you're
right,
spending in
full
that
bore.
water.
Heavy
Yeah.
breaths, like water flying in because you're just trying to win. You're not carrying
I
it
mean,
out.
okay, so, and we're going to talk about it, but they sent the surfers to Tahiti. They could have done it anywhere, and
Yeah.
doing it in the middle of a city is dumb.
So,
I-
the
I saw
triathlon,
something
you
about
mean?
how they wanted to like
Yeah, doing the
show
triathlon
off,
in the middle of the city is dumb.
But they wanted to like show off the the city. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
sure.
I think it's a good.
That's a whole marketing ploy too. It's like, oh, watch all these athletes swim in the Seine.
I mean,
Right.
okay, so we're out of time, but let's talk about that for a second. The world has been talking about for the last 2 months how the Seine is filled with E. coli and actual human excrement. I mean, I don't know if the marketing worked. I don't think it worked, guys.
Well, I'm not going to jump into the Seine if I ever visit Paris.
well,
that's
we'll,
for sure.
we'll have to maybe as a follow up, we'll have to see how many people watch the triathlon.
I don't think it's going to keep me from visiting Paris either, though.
No.
You know what you got to watch? Dressage. Snoop likes dressage. You should like dressage.
Oh, Snoop has been awesome, by the way, in these Olympics.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And we're out of time. Yeah, we are. We totally are out of time. Oh, Ferris, it's time for the next topic.
One.
I already did it. I just did it.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. That was my ADHD right there. So.
You can do the next one, Pete.
Okay.
You can do the next one. All right. So we're going to keep it on the Olympics, you guys. Let's get it to it. The American women's rugby team and center, Ilona Maher, have become one of the stories of this year's Olympics, playing spoiler to Australia on Tuesday, beating them 14-12 with a last-second score by Alex Cedric from a full 85 meters. I had to look this up. The whole length of the field, winning the bronze and U.S.'s first medal in rugby since 1928. Maher, 5'10", is among one of the fastest players on the pitch. I don't know if that's the right word. And is known for a Derrick Henry-like stiff arm, scoring in the USA's first 2 wins of this tournament. Maher has been also increasing her popularity since the Tokyo Games on TikTok with real looks at the Olympic Village beds and behind-the-scenes training with her team. Now at 1.5 million followers, more than Katie Ledecky or Noah Lyles, she is using the platform to try to grow rugby's following in the U.S. And so, how is social media changing sports across the world, in all different kinds of sports? Does Maher, a world-class, multi-sport athlete with a nursing degree and an MBA, owe her success to her charisma, her business acumen, or both?
It's probably as a combination of both.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's lots of charismatic people on social media, but they're not all that bright
or
not
successful
all of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked.
So you have to be
look up
smart
her
enough.
background, by the way. I was like, that is incredible.
Yeah,
What an
she
incredible
sounds
woman.
amazing.
She sounds like the most interesting woman in the world.
And she plays rugby in bright red lipstick.
That's cool.
Now, did the team, didn't they just medal? Or am I thinking... They bronze.
Okay.
And I believe there was a donor who owns like a bunch of rugby teams just decided to donate like $4 million to their cause to help grow the sport.
It's amazing.
I believe I heard that today.
That's
so
cool.
True that the U.S. won in rugby is 1928. It's 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and the fact that 2 women did it first too, and they're strong.
No, I wish I'm gonna have to go back and watch the medal game that they did then.
For real.
I watched some of the.
Oh, you should. It's worth watching.
Okay.
It's a really good game, and like this is a literal. They were not supposed to even come close, and they're playing in the bronze game, and they have the ball literally on like the 1 yard line or whatever it is, and she breaks a tackle, this Alex Cedric, and she goes the whole way, and Ilona's on the backside, and she shut the fuck up, because they have to kick whatever like the extra point is. And so they were like, just wait, and then they all lost their mind. I mean, they lost their mind because they didn't expect to win.
That's so
and they
cool.
played great. They played so good, and it was so exciting to watch. And Ilona is really interesting. Like, her social media is filled with like random Love Island jokes, and like she's talking about the stupid cardboard beds, and like, oh look, the Olympic Village really sucks, you guys. But she's talking about, I think. God?
Sorry, she's just like an ordinary person from
She's
Vermont.
like an ordinary person.
It's so easy to relate to.
That just happens to be like this amazing, right, rugby player with the charisma and all that. But yeah.
And talk about a 12-pack. It's just jacked.
Yeah.
Jacked.
Yeah, you do.
Well, you got to be ripped to play rugby.
I do love to see like that, like Janis was saying, like the human side that you can relate to of these people that sometimes seem like they're just these, god or goddess statues, stoic up. So it's nice.
I mean, she actually is.
Yeah, but maybe that's going back to your question about like the role of social media in this. Like that's how you have that bridge then from like what seems like it's someone larger than life to like, oh no, this is just another person like you and me who could be from Vermont or or You know,
I think that it does a really
Iowa,
good
like,
job
you know,
of putting a
wherever.
light on sports that people don't typically watch,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
people that people might not typically know, like the Cavender twins, right? The Cavender twins, who are just kind of average college basketball players who have millions of followers because they play basketball and are pretty good on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm
I
interested
think
too.
too, like, oh, go ahead, Pete.
I was gonna say I'm interested in just rugby in general now too. Like I did watch the men's bronze medal competition. I think it was Australia and South Africa, and was rooting for the Aussies because they were the underdogs and they had the lead almost at the end and they didn't quite get it.
I'll tell you, all the women's games were exciting because
Yeah, I need to
the
go
women's
back and
games
watch
are
the
so
women's
interesting
game.
because there's like really big players and really small players. So there's a lot of like women throwing other women way up in the air. There was one. This woman has this other woman over her head, literally full arm extension to grab the ball, and she flips. She actually loses her balance, so she does a somersault in this other woman's arms, so she doesn't drop her.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know how that's in the rules,
I don't
but
know.
it is. I've seen it happen a lot. So
Janice,
I
what were
like
you going to say
understanding,
before
like,
Oh, I totally forgot. But all I'm thinking now is that I saw like one where like this tiny girl playing rugby. I mean, she's probably not tiny. She's probably giant, but tiny compared to some of the other girls. And she just got like mowed completely down, which is like also terrifying.
Oh, jeez. It's a
Like-
brutal sport.
there is
It's a sport.
Yeah.
there is one girl who's literally like the size of Ilona Maher, like that kind of big, and she was literally just throwing people and like grabbing them by their throats and just like choke slamming. I'm just like, what is this sport that I am watching?
Unreal.
I don't know. The Olympics are exciting. There are a lot of like let's take a second because we're almost at the end of time. What are our favorite stories from this year's Olympics? And clearly this is mine.
Oof.
So far.
There's a lot so far.
I mean, I can name more.
Yeah. I mean,
U.S. girls.
the sheer dominance of Katie Ledecky has been pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
The U.S.
Her
girls winning the
1500
gold
was amazing. I'm not caught up to that yet. I've been recording some primetime stuff on YouTube TV, so I gotta watch
Nice.
the women's gymnastics team.
Simone Biles getting another gold medal.
Yeah,
the
that
U.S. girls
that excites
winning
me.
gold. Her clapping
She's
back at her
unstoppable.
ex-teammates for being a bitch.
Oh, I didn't see that. I mean, I always look
Some
forward
girls
to
called
track,
them
so we're
lazy,
not- we
and she
haven't
was like,
started that
"Oh,
part
look,
yet.
these are some lazy gold medalists." Like, oh yeah.
To me, I'm just really looking forward to track and field. There's so many stories that have been
too.
building up for the whole year there, so I'm kind of reserving my like biggest moment of the Olympics till then.
You're fangirling.
I am.
What else? What else is exciting? Obviously, our friend Steve talked about that in the green room. That story's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally was like, I think his name is Steve. Like I said this to Mel. I was like, I think his name is like Steve Nedoroscik, but it's not that. It's Nedro something or another. But like,
Okay.
this kid who is literally just good at pommel horse comes in and wins the gold for the men with pommel horse. Just like the first actual Olympic team specialist that has ever been brought, and it was a good idea.
And like you said, looks like Clark Kent, and then he takes the glasses off and like goes all Superman in the pommel horse. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's what he did. That's what he did.
Amazing.
Anyway, we're at time.
Oh yeah.
Do your thing, Pete.
Okay, I don't know if I have the words right, but whoa,
okay.
I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been the next topic.
Beautiful.
Something you said.
You can't half-ass that song.
All right, we're going to talk a little baseball. So the Major League Baseball trade deadline is come and gone, and lots of contenders made some serious moves. Some teams went
Yeah,
forward,
we did.
including the Dodgers getting Jack Flaherty from the Tigers and the Braves getting back Jorge Soler from the Giants. But possibly the biggest news is the trade that didn't happen. In fact, we all talked about Justin Crochet from the Chicago White Sox possibly being the best pitcher available. Not only were the White Sox asking for a lot in return for the fireballer, but Crochet also took a chance on himself by adding a term that he said that where he would only allow a trade to a team that would sign him to a big long-term deal. So the deal that we all wanted to see never happened.
With a pitch count.
So everyone, what do we think of the negotiation tactic by Justin Crochet? Which trade do we think will have the largest impact? And are we happy with our team's moves or lack thereof?
So, Justin Crochet totally shot himself in the foot because he actually in his request he put in he just came off a surgery, so he put a pitch count on himself in the trade requirements.
Oh, interesting.
So he literally, for what would have been a rental, he literally priced himself out. He said, "Well, we want this much and we want this much money, but I'm not pitching in the essentially, I'm not pitching in the playoffs," which is ridiculous, right? That's why he didn't go. He didn't go because nobody wanted him anymore. You missed the biggest move of the trade deadline, Mark.
What was the biggest move? Are you going to talk Yankees?
Yeah, we are. Two-time All-Star, 27-year-old Jazz Chisholm is now a New York Yankee, and he's already hit 4 home runs, and he pretty much single-handedly beat the Phillies in this last away stand. His curtain call at Yankee Stadium, because he hasn't even been home yet, his curtain call in Yankee Stadium is going to be glorious. And this kid is fast, and he's exciting. He plays every position, and he hit a home run with Aaron Judge's bat on Monday.
Wow.
It's so cute when John gets excited about his Yankees.
So they traded for him when, and he's already...
They traded for him on Saturday, and he was playing by Monday. That's how these midseason trades go. They're literally like, "All right, Jazz, pack your bags.
That's
you're
so
out."
crazy.
And but he, an all-star on a middling Cubs, is now on a contender. I mean, it's very exciting for him, right? He's a great player, and he gets to go to a team that has a shot.
What about the pitching that the Yankees need, John?
Shut up. It's fine. It's fine. We don't need pitching when we score 14 runs against the Phillies.
You guys tried that last year, and how well did it work?
I know. Listen, I know.
Everyone bats really well when it's warm outside.
Gil pitched okay on Monday. He did.
Mm-hmm.
Gil looks okay.
This philosophy.
We just have to survive. We have to survive until Cole's back. Everything's fine.
If Cole comes back.
Everything's fine. They're going to trade Nestor Cortez for somebody good. It's totally good. Nothing to see here. Everything's okay. We're still doing great. Aaron Judge is going to beat the home run record again. It's all fine.
Pump the brakes there, okay? Let's.
He's on pace.
While he's having a very good year.
He's on pace. He's almost at 40. I think he is at 40.
Let's calm down, okay? 2 months left. 2 months to go.
Yeah, it's all right.
Lot can happen. He might hurt his toe again.
How's the Red Sox doing, Mark?
The Red Sox didn't really make any moves. I mean, they made a couple. They made a couple moves, but they didn't really. Now, to be fair, they were a team that's going to win the World Series. They needed a lot of players in order to get to that point. So, I'm not really unsatisfied with their moves, just because again this team wasn't going to win the World Series. They're a pretty good team. They're overachieving. They are out of the wild card as of right now. Things could change later on. We'll see what happens, but I don't know.
They're close to the Royals.
Is it top two from each conference that go, or just the top one?
So there's 3 divisions in baseball in each league. The 3 division winners go, and then the 3 next best records.
Okay, so 3 wild card teams per league.
Right, and so the Yankees are now actually tied for first in the East.
They are, because the Orioles are stinking it up.
Because the Orioles are stinking it up, and the Guardians are still winning. But the Yankees, Red Sox, Twins, Royals, and Mariners a little bit are in the hunt for the wild card. So really, it's going to be the Red Sox. Oh, and the Red Sox, obviously. It's going to be the Red Sox, probably the Twins, probably.
Don't count out the Royals.
The Royals. Probably the Royals, the Twins, and the Red Sox, I think.
The Royals have 61 wins right now, so they're... Other than, Yankees and Orioles
61 wins is great. I mean, unfortunately, they're having...
Especially considering they lost like 106 games last year.
The American League, they have a very American League East problem where they have 61 wins and they're 12 over, but they're in a division with the baseball leading Cleveland Guardians. So
yeah, they might miss the playoffs with a really good record.
That sounds so wrong to say.
I know, it's crazy.
John, did you hear about Mike Trout?
I did.
He shut down for the year again.
It's okay. Bobby Witt Jr. is killing it. 343.
He is.
Damn.
He is. What? One of the managers just recently called him the future of baseball.
I mean, he might be.
Right.
He might be.
And this was right with Paul Skeens in the room or something like that.
Besides average, which obviously he'll never catch Stephen Kwan or Bobby Witt. Aaron Judge is 2 out of 3 on the Triple Crown. So there's that too, bro.
Oh, he's so cute when
Aaron Judge
he's
is the
excited about
now.
the Yankees.
Aaron Judge is the now of baseball. It's going to be on the EA Sports games. It's going to be all good, man.
It's next week after a couple
Janice,
losses.
who's your
I'll be
team?
Like, the freaking Yankees.
I know we just went
Yeah.
off on a big old diatribe. Who's your baseball team?
This isn't my topic. Not baseball
it's okay.
person.
Who
I
is your
guess I
favorite-
would say like the Yankees.
Hell
Literally,
yeah.
that's the only team
That's
I
why
know.
John asked that question. He just
anything
wanted to say the
about?
Yankees.
I've been to a Yankees game once when I was in 8th grade. That's as far as my baseball goes.
I'm kind
My
of in the
kids do
same
play
boat.
baseball, so there's that. But
There you
that-
go.
All right.
that's not the same thing, really. But
What is your? I mean, I know you play soccer. Is soccer your sport, or what is like your favorite, your American, like your United States professional sport that you like?
yeah,
And if you don't like any, that's an answer too.
soccer 100%.
Okay.
But I sadly don't follow like the MLS and stuff quite as much as I probably should to
That's okay.
at least say that I'm like a soccer fan. But I definitely am following
So the
like,
MLS
the
gave a
national
contract
teams.
to the one MLS team gave a contract to a 14-year-old this year.
Oh wow.
That is
Wait,
a true
really?
fact. That is a true
That is
fact.
a
They're
true fact.
that.
Ooh,
They're
What is
that
his name, Mark?
talented.
He is.
It begins with a C. His last name is Sullivan. It's a very Irish name. I just don't remember what it is.
I got
It's
you.
probably
Maybe come
14
from,
years
like,
old.
they just-
And
O'Sullivan.
McKenna Whitman,
No.
14.
Okay.
his brother plays on the same team too.
Oh yes, his brother plays on the same team. Kevin
Cavan?
Sullivan.
Kevin Sullivan.
wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, 14. Oh, he also got signed by, was it Man City?
Yeah, Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
This kid
How
is gonna.
physically like can he compete at that level at 14?
Yeah, he might get slaughtered
I
Right?
mean,
Like
by
He
some
might be a
burly,
big boy.
like 32-year-old grizzled vet that's just
I
like,
guess so,
I
but
don't.
even so,
He
you're
is a
still
pretty
just
big
going
boy,
through
and he's
a
still
lot.
growing. Yeah, he's
yeah.
I mean, Kevin Sullivan already 5'7", 150. He's a little skinny, but 5'7's fine. I'm 5'7.
Yeah, well, actually,
just like
150
even
for
just a lot of,
5'7" is
like-
pretty good.
Even just a lot of like the like like stability of your joints and tendons and stuff.
So
though.
like,
Right.
imagine
Yeah, you're like, you haven't
being
really grown into your own frame yet at that point.
being
Right.
14 and having to go on a professional sports tour with like your mom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Like me and my mom are gonna get our own room, you guys.
Yeah.
You can come over for
yeah,
drinks.
that would
I
be
have soda.
hard.
Hmm.
That would be hard.
That's a spot on impersonation of a 14-year-old John.
That's
I
probably
know.
exactly what he sounds like.
Practice. And scene.
I do
We're out
have
of
to
time.
point out real quick that there is I have been following the KC Current women's team slightly, like
Hmm.
just a little bit, because we have a local player on that team.
Oh, that's fucking
She's
cool.
from Bethlehem.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
she went to Bethlehem High. Her name's Claire Hutton or something,
Hmm.
something close to that. So if you want to support a local
Wow.
person, start watching KC.
Kansas City Current. I like the name too.
Yep. And
What's the closest NWSL team to you guys?
Claire Hutton.
Is there a team in New York?
I don't know. There's nothing close, real
Hmm.
close, anyways.
Missed the-
Your research department is on it.
Missed the Buffalo Blizzard, but I think they were indoor.
I think there was a New England team maybe being talked about or something, but
There's got to be a New England
Not
team,
sure.
yeah.
I mean,
No?
Gotham FC is reasonable, but that's a men's
Yeah.
team.
yeah.
They play in Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey.
Hmm.
All the cool shit happens in Harrison.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Anyone got a next topic? I have a song I can pick from.
Sing me a song, Mark.
Do it, Mark.
Sing me a song. Do it, Rockapella. Boo.
Something takes a part of me. Next topic is what it be. Cheap jab at John, you will see. Something takes a part of me.
Nice.
Oh boy. I'm leaving.
Can we
All right.
have the corn sound effect just as his own soundbite?
I think we should. It was really good.
That was really good.
All right, it's
You
time for
almost
John
scared
to
Janice
stump.
right off the show.
It's time for John to stump a little bit.
Uh-oh.
So everyone, now it's story time. So as an adult that likes to go to sporting events, I have bought my fair share of tickets and even tickets on Ticketmaster. And I did not, up until this past Monday, realize how bad it's gotten. To shorten a very long story, I purchased several tickets for the Yankees-Philly game this past Monday in Philadelphia. We drove out the day of the game, ready to go, and met our college friend Eric, who was going with us. Sitting at lunch before the game, I received an email saying that one half of the tickets I bought, one full order, were unavailable. They were canceled. Mind you, this is 5 hours before the game, and that they'd like to offer equally poor tickets in a completely different section of the park. So this dance went on all day, along with a 45-minute useless phone call, at least a 20-part email thread, and lots of unheard, unresponded to questions. And in the end, no baseball game and no refund yet. So I have a question, which I asked multiple people on Monday. How are the business practices of Ticketmaster legal? Also, with the ongoing federal legal action against them, do we see a day where they are forced to divest into smaller, less evil organizations?
Yes, they are the evilest of all evil, and they should be broken apart and die quickly. Next topic.
Yep,
Done.
pretty much.
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
this
was
goes
that
back
bad.
to the mid 90s when like Pearl Jam pretty much decided to stop being famous and just go into court against Ticketmaster. Like, I mean, this is decades old of trying to fight these guys, and it just seems like they just bully their way to bigger and more evilness.
I had so many people on Monday tell me there was nothing they could do.
Yeah,
And mind you, this is
it's
No, they own the entire
$600 of baseball
industry.
seats. $600 of baseball seats on my credit card. And they were like, resell, man. It's just like that. I'm like, okay.
You see,
that's fine. That makes me feel better.
right? It's like you see how bad airline and flights have gotten in the U.S. when we've seen consolidation of like dozens of airlines down to like 4. This is one.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is no one else.
No, they truly have monopoly.
Yeah.
And by far the worst thing that they do, in my opinion, is they buy the tickets from themselves and then do the verify resell or authentic resell from there. So they're double dipping into this.
Yeah, they just mark up themselves. What was the
It's
term
completely
in
ridiculous.
30 Rock? Vertical integration.
I remember a day, and maybe it's just because I'm old, right? Maybe it's just because COVID happened and I didn't go to a baseball game in a long time. And I'm like, I remember a day though where you bought the real tickets from Ticketmaster. Like,
Yeah.
you bought the tickets from the stadium from Ticketmaster. Like, I remember that day. And now,
Or not even from Ticketmaster, just from the
Everything.
direct box office.
and no, but the direct box office is like a completely separate thing now. So the
Yeah.
MLB went into.
It's hard to buy tickets directly from the box office now.
Yeah.
You have to
And
get them mostly from the resale sites.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle of this day, I called Citizens Bank Park, and I was just like, "Hey, so this whole situation happened, and I'm in Philadelphia, and I would like to go to the baseball game. Can you find my tickets?" And they're like, "Well, actually, the thing is, we can't. We don't even see your tickets because they're not here. They're just not here." I'm like, "Oh, cool.
So
Cool.
stupid.
Cool,
I'm
cool, cool,
sorry
cool.
that happened to you guys. I know how excited you were to go to a
No,
game
but I
with
think-
our buddy in Philly.
Oh, I mean, Eric and I still had a good time.
Yeah.
The family and I still had a great time in Philadelphia. It was a really nice trip. And I think another portion of this is like, when do you just leave the things you can't control? Because I had a hard time again. I had a hard time letting it go, and I wasn't even anxious about it. I was just fucking mad. I was just mad at everyone, and I was just like, "You're literally telling me that you just are gonna." And the gist of what they wanted to do was they wanted to take the 2 sets of tickets that I bought and split them and put them in 2 completely different sets at the park. And I was like, I could say yes, but then I'm spending, 4 hours away from Jamie and Melanie, which I didn't really want to do. And
Yet there's still no.
and then I'm letting
hint
them
of a
win, right?
refund
I'm
either?
letting them
Right.
win. I'm saying, okay, what you did is fine, and it's not fine. It's not fine. They don't just get to decide. I want to live in a country where when I pay money for a thing, that I get that thing. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
ranting. Do you guys have opinions?
Oh, I still have so many opinions on
Tell
this.
me.
Yeah.
I saw because there's no such thing as face value of a ticket anymore. Just because,
No such thing.
again, everyone is buying them up. And you have people just That's their job now. Is they
Mhm.
buy up tickets and then they sell them on whatever marketplace that they have, either on Ticketmaster's website, StubHub, Ace Ticket, like any of the SeatGeek, any of those like tickets sites that they have, which essentially is just internet scalping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason why it's legal is because people pay taxes on it.
Right.
The only reason why it's legal.
Right.
You still can't really sell tickets like on the sidewalk, right in front of the
That was a cleaner
the
day.
ticket booth.
Hmm.
But as long as Uncle Sam gets his cut,
I remember,
it's okay.
The first time I went to Skydome in Toronto, and the scalpers were just out right in front of the ticket offices because it's not illegal.
Even if the government wanted to do something about it, do they even have the power anymore to do so?
Well, MLB, I think, is doing something about it. MLB has created their own thing.
Hmm.
And there's an app called Ballpark, which is owned by MLB,
Mhm.
and they're selling tickets directly through the Ballpark app,
Okay.
which I know now.
How long before Ticketmaster just throws $1 billion of lawyers at them and sues them into oblivion?
I mean, I'm sure they're already doing it.
You
Okay.
can't
Fuck those guys.
No, Ticketmaster can't sue him for that.
They'll pay every judge and politician to make it so that they can.
What
Because-
is it? What rule are they breaking by doing that? They've created their own service.
I mean,
Like,
I don't. I don't
Ticketmaster doesn't
Oh,
have
sure.
own the rights to do
Peter-
what they do.
No, but
Like,
they will bully
just-
their way
they're
to
just
make
best
it
at
that
doing
way. It's like they will make up their own laws and rules because they're a giant monopolistic corporation that everyone refuses to actually break up and regulate. I mean, this is what we get when we don't keep this stuff in check for decades. It just, here you go.
I
and
knew
it
that there
sucks.
was trouble when I called Ticketmaster, and before I even got to talk to a person, they said they have a no tolerance policy for aggressive or mean behavior to their service desk agents.
Oh, no.
I was like,
Mm.
you're warning me not to be mean to them? Uh-oh.
Not the last.
Well, in a lot of
not the
respects,
first
it's not
time
their
they've-
fault, right? In a
Well,
lot of respects, it's not their fault.
I mean, they're
Right,
all
the
just
person
stuck
on the
by
phone
rules.
is they're just where they just
And I
work there.
definitely understand that. I mean, I pretty much do that, you know?
Yeah.
You just kind of read scripts and follow rules, and, you know,
Sure.
if it's not in the rules, you can't do it. But I think another problem is the severe lack of skilled labor that they hire. A lot of people with a lot of language difficulties and a lot of trouble understanding simple instructions. And I think just in general, the fact of it is that they're just surrounded by rules that just serve the bigger Ticketmaster power.
Yeah, they
Anyway.
need to be they need to be broken up like Mark
Theoretically,
said,
they
into
said
a billion
they
pieces
said they'd give me
to-
my money back, and if they don't, I have a time limit on it. If they don't, I'm just gonna charge back it and ask my credit card company. So everything's fine. It's all well.
We got
It's
to
all
keep
good.
up
The
with this and see what get an update as this.
The Yankees won by
progresses.
$1 million. The Yankees beat the Phillies twice by just about $1 million. So
Is that the
Yeah.
exact number? 1 million?
just about $1 million.
All right. We're moving on?
I mean, we're out of time. So
Let's go.
We'd like to thank another fake sponsor, ZenFlex Yoga Blocks. Enhance your practice with ZenFlex Yoga Blocks. Perfect for improving balance and flexibility. ZenFlex. Find your center. Do we all feel calm after that ad?
Kind of, actually.
Now,
Yeah,
now that John got us
that was
all
better.
riled up with Ticketmaster.
I feel like I found my center now.
I'm not centered.
All right, who's got next topic?
Pete does.
I don't.
All right, we know what we're
I
gonna
thought-
do. We haven't done this in a while.
No, we will not
Maybe
use.
do
No,
other
I
stuff.
don't like it.
I thought
We
I
gotta
had
move
one,
on.
and my mind just went totally blank.
So we know that the NFL invests a lot in technology, including sensors and cameras, to help with TV broadcasts. Well, there's another innovation coming out soon that they're going to test during some preseason games this year called Hawkeye. Now, this isn't a Marvel superhero, but a service provided by Sony that will help track the
good.
first down yardage.
It's a good joke, Mark.
Thank you. While Sony says this will help shave some time. We talk a lot of Marvel on this podcast, okay?
Hey,
we
we
had
do,
to
man.
make
It's
that.
fine.
We do.
It's fine.
While Sony says this will help shave some time off the downtime for each game, it also means the chain gang will be eliminated from each game once it gets implemented 100%. So, everyone, what are our thoughts on the NFL using this kind of technology to measure yardage instead of human beings?
I mean, it's inevitable. Just like robot umpires, it's inevitable. It just is.
Yeah, people, I think, are more interested in the call being right to, an absolute degree, as opposed to like that human kind of, chance for error that you get with, actual officials, like gauging these things like, oh, I thought I saw the first down, the ball spot about there. Never mind that like the offensive lineman like nudged it a little bit and then the defensive guy nudged it a little bit. And it's like,
I mean, I think side note, at the end of the day, people don't really give a shit. They just want the game to happen.
yeah,
Whatever game it is, they just want the game to happen, and they want it to happen without many stoppages in play, which things like the chain gang do.
exactly. That's what I was going to get at too, is that like, right, this whole thing with the sky judge and stuff or instant replay, as long as it's quick, right? Yeah, people don't want to get interrupted too much.
So here's the thing: you mentioned robot umps in baseball, which is going to be forthcoming during spring training next year. Can robots officiate NFL games?
As long as they look like the robot from the Fox broadcast, the football robot. Yeah, they can run. Yeah.
I think so. I think the problem with some of the calls, like some of the personal like flag calls, like not the actual measurement ones, the ones that are like so and so has stepped over line X, because I think robots could do that absolutely perfectly. But like
like defensive pass interference.
Like defensive pass interference, like roughing the passer, like late hits, like the things that are more human style judgment calls, I think that robots will struggle with, and I think that'll be for a while.
Yeah, I could see that. Although I bet the robots know what a catch is.
I bet the robots.
Because
Pete, do the robots know what a football move is?
Ooh. See, that's where I think you need human subjectivity.
That's another somewhat esoteric human decision rule.
Right.
Is it 2 steps? Is it 3 steps? Like, if I'm doing this with the ball, do I have it? Like, do I not have it?
Wait, what are you doing with the ball?
Are they going to know?
Show us again what you're doing with the ball?
Are they gonna know when the person in the end zone is celebrating with a third gyration that causes the penalty for excessive celebration?
All right. I got another one, and Janis, you might appreciate this. Could you think we could have robot officials in soccer games?
No,
Really?
I don't think so. No.
What about
Because
something like
I think
offsides?
yes. So offsides, as long as you can like geolocate or whatever where the players
You
are.
need lots of sensors.
I mean, they have that already. By the way, they have sensor offsides. That's how the that's how the ball got called back in the Copa America. That was a sensor.
Well,
offsides.
isn't that after the fact though? Like they look at that after a goal is scored.
Yeah, I mean, there's
but
like the reviews.
It was
Okay,
a
and they do that with
offsides
sensors
review
and things?
after the fact with sensors, and they literally they had a line, and the guy was like 1/8 of an inch over the fucking line. It was ridiculous.
But I mean, if they have that technology, why aren't they using it like during the game?
I mean, they are using it.
Well, so Janis,
no.
like
as like that's what's the rule. That's who rule. Like the robot says, oh, it's offsides, that plays over. Or
I just know there's like a lot of gray area, at least. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of gray area
when it comes to soccer.
There is a lot of gray area in soccer, and it's the same
thing
kind of gray.
Those football
fouls,
calls,
yeah, like red cards
there's a
are
lot, right? There's a lot of that kind of subjectivity. I think
human judgment and subjectivity. Red cards and yellow cards too. Like, is that slide tackle real? I mean, you would assume that a lot of the people who who fall on purpose, right? Like that would trick robots, you think?
Some of it's knowledge of the game too. Like if you've played the game or been around the game a lot, then you like know the way people play the game.
Yeah.
And robots won't have that experience.
That's one reason why I think I would enjoy seeing a robot officiate a game, because soccer is notorious for having people having fake injuries and just crying and on the field. I think that having robot officials would get rid of that. Because Rob will be like,
it goes over and points.
You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Men's soccer does that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The robot goes over. This player is faking. not actually injured. Like, oh,
He's like, he X-rays his bone. He's like, bone is not fractured.
Yes, bone structure intact.
Penalty
You are not
declined.
fooling anyone.
No actual suffering.
Yes.
No actual suffering.
I was gonna say though, I do think the robots, to Janice's point too, and you guys, they can recognize binary things like, are they offsides? Are they not? Is the ball over the crease? But they can't, I don't think, measure intent, right? Like the spirit of, like, for instance, like hockey, right? Like, okay, somebody's skates get tangled up. When is it tripping deliberately, and when is it just, hey, these two guys didn't see each other and we just won't call that?
Yeah.
Like, that's where
that is
the difference is.
And just like really will expound it all the way. Like, that is the reason that, to a point, we're gonna have trouble with like computer controlled driving, because like what does a computer do when it is either hit a puppy or a duck or like a child or 10 ducks? Like, how does it measure? Like, because it doesn't know.
The trolley problem.
It's a trolley problem.
Yeah.
It's 100% the trolley problem. And until we can get AI to measure some sort of human condition, I don't think we'll ever get there, because I just don't think they have that ability to measure in gray. I think gray
We will get there, though.
I think gray is part of the human condition, and the ability to measure gray is part of the human condition.
We might. Did you see how much Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator had to go through in Terminator 2 before he understood why John Connor cried, and still said it was something he could never do?
All right, so sometimes there's a perfect ending to a topic, and sometimes there's a perfect ending to a topic, and that was great, Pete. Congratulations. Oh, jeez.
Mark caught you there.
That's true.
For all you on the audio podcast, this is what we heard.
It doesn't come through at all.
It's still not as good, no. That slap is something on the soundboard.
Slap is something. All right, somebody do a thing with a thing and the thing. And if you need me to do a thing, I'll do a thing.
Can we just use that?
Next
we
topic.
should just use that.
I said next topic at the end. Jesus. All right. So back to the Olympics, you guys. Ever since the first Dream Team in 1992 Olympic Games in the U.S. basketball team, okay, I'm going to say all of that over again because my words are literally backwards. Ever since the first Dream Team in the 1992 Olympic Games, the U.S. basketball team has stayed in private, luxury accommodations for the Olympic Games. These Paris Games aren't any different. Both the women's and men's team have paid to rent an entire luxury hotel at a whopping $15 million price tag, citing security concerns. And almost 10,000 miles away from Paris, the Olympians participating in the surfing competition are staying in Tahiti on a cruise ship. The amenities in this floating village include a 24-hour dining hall, a play area, a tattoo parlor, and a giant pool. So with a lot of talk of this year's Olympics being cardboard beds, not enough space for world-class athletes to recover, and a lack of proper food options, how do we explain these severe equity issues? Specifically, how can the advantage provided to the American Dream Team be allowed?
Did John's audio cut out for anyone else?
For part of it, yeah.
All right, John, you may need to repeat the second half of that.
The second half?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Just to be sure, just to be safe.
With a lot of the talk of this year's Olympic Games being cardboard beds, not enough space for world-class athletes to recover, and a lack of proper food options, how do we explain these severe equity issues? Specifically, how can the advantage provided to the American Dream Team be allowed?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What's good to hear about this in some respects is that both the men and the women's basketball teams are being they're staying in these luxurious accommodations, right? Because we've heard that NBA versus WNBA is definitely, or I'm sorry, not just that, like NCAA, like the men get certain, like all these beautiful things.
Well,
and
there's
the women
differentiation
have
in college
podcast.
even too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But USA Basketball, I believe, fronts the bill for all that, and USA Basketball is representing both the men and the women. So it's nice to hear that there's some equity there. Yeah. Now this is one of the reasons why the Americans are getting these pretty nice accommodations, right? It's because there are these organizations that are state run that are footing the bill for this.
Now, my understanding is the millionaires decided, fuck the Olympic Village, and they just did their own thing. That is my understanding of the story. They were literally like, nah, we can do better.
Yeah, like this isn't good enough.
And I mean, the women, these top women that are in this team, Brianna Stewart, they have a lot. I mean, they don't have the men money, but they have a lot of money. So like doing this together wasn't really a second thought for any of them.
Yeah. I mean, if you definitely have the ability to, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, where is Jokic staying? Right?
It just
like big old 7-1,
right, yeah.
like he's on the Serbian team. He played.
There's no way
Serbia.
that cardboard bed is going to accommodate half these athletes.
There's no way it's going to accommodate half these athletes.
It takes a lot of Amazon boxes to get that one done. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Just extra boxes. But like that, I mean, that points out, though, it's like, how did this happen with so much money that the host country invests in the Olympics? How did the Olympic Village seemingly get overlooked this much to the point where it forces the hand of, like, I'm sure the U.S. is not the only country that is seeking accommodations elsewhere for their athletes.
Coco Gauff said that no one is left. Coco Gauff made a statement and said that she stayed because Rafael Nadal stayed, and like if Rafael Nadal can do it, so can she.
Okay.
And there's a lot of it's a very like personal decision. Like some people really like the feeling of the Olympic Village, like people singing. The songs
exactly. You're with a bunch of other Olympic athletes,
and that's not the problem. But it's like you want to see these athletes at their absolute best, and if you're giving them shitty conditions, it's like, all right.
Well, you're like,
how are you going to get a world record when they haven't, when they got a stiff neck and haven't slept well for 5 days because your shitty bed made it
you're
impossible?
Talking to like 6'10", 350-pound power lifters that literally are just like, they don't fit on the beds.
Right. They would just collapse those beds.
They would just don't fit. They don't fit. I don't know. The whole thing is weird. But the American Dream Team specifically, they actually have 2 separate hotels because while gymnastics is going on, the basketball games are getting played outside of Paris, and so they bought a hotel in this random city. They have a hotel in Paris. They were like late to a game because of traffic. The whole story is wild, but apparently they've been doing this the whole time because we send millionaires in to the basketball game. Once they allowed us to send professional athletes, we're like, we got the guys for you.
Yeah, we got money now.
We got the right people for this job, and so that's why we win basketball, because we send Magic Johnson and LeBron James, and we send.
Yeah, but they're not footing the bill for this.
Yeah, but they are though.
USA Basketball is, which is a private organization.
But I mean, no doubt they're getting...
The athletes themselves are. I mean, they might be putting forth towards like something like.
I'm sure the
maybe
NBA
they'll pay for a dinner or something.
The NBA is probably funneling something towards that, right? Or no? Like
the NBA doesn't give a shit.
They don't care.
No.
So is it an unfair advantage for the Americans to be doing this while other countries obviously. But that's an advantage that you have, right? Is it necessarily unfair? Should the Americans just be sleeping on the cardboard beds like everyone else? Is that what the solution should be?
I feel like the cardboard beds aren't enough, so it's like I'm for them doing what they need to do. It just I'm more upset that they're forced to have to do that. That the Olympic Village accommodations are not enough.
Can we take a right turn and just talk about equity in sports for a second?
Okay.
I mean, like, when you think about when you think about this story, probably the richest basketball program at the Olympics doing rich people things and paying for nice accommodations and good food.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think that it is like reflected in the actual progression in sports for, like, let's say a generational player grows up in the South End of Philadelphia and needs to play basketball on the streets and finds his way. Does he find his way to a college? Do all of them find their way to a college?
If they're good enough at basketball.
I'm sure there are some diamonds in the rough.
They won't all find their way.
No.
Do you think that's the only precursor for them to be good at basketball?
No, not necessarily, but I would imagine that that's what their dream is, right? That's what they want to, if they're that good, then they hopefully they work towards it. And because that's the one good thing about sports. Certain sports where essentially it, in a lot of respects, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It just matters how good you are at that athletic thing, right? There are some exceptions, obviously, but in a lot of respects, it comes down to athletes' abilities.
But not every time.
Well, I mean, the ability.
Not every time.
You need
You're
the
right.
ability. You also need like either the right person, the right time
Well, I mean,
to
it's
recognize you too.
I think
You
it's
need the
ability and
exposure.
yeah,
it's ability and opportunities. Because like if you
exactly.
are great at basketball or soccer or football or whatever, and the right people don't see you, then who knows that you're great at it?
You need your Jerry Maguire.
And how do you make the right people see you, right? You make the right people see you by playing in a D1 program or by playing in a great foreign program.
Oh,
But how do you get
even
into
probably
those
before
things,
that,
right?
even probably before that, if you're playing on a high school team or even like a junior high team and you're that good, I mean that's what social media kind of helps out with these days,
Well,
right?
I think that is a
That's
really
true.
good point. I
That
think
does
you have
help.
to be either big on social media or you have to be big on a team that people go and watch, because at the end of the day, there's a limit of professional scouts and they can't go and look at everything.
Right.
We've all seen the struggling scout finds the diamond in the rough movie. I love those movies. Adam Sandler was just in one of those movies with basketball. That's a great movie, by the way. And I mean, it's just hard. It's hard to be everywhere, and it's hard to get that opportunity. And then you get the opportunity, and it's hard to actually capitalize on the opportunity. So, I mean, there's a lot of things at play, I think, and I think just this is a total microcosm of the problem in. I mean, dare say the world, but at least in sports, right? Sports, that the fact that the rich get richer, right?
Yeah, and that is unfortunate. And this is where too, though. I just go back to like you would hope that the Olympics, the floor would be high enough to where, okay, yeah, even if the rich go on their super fancy cruise ship in Tahiti, that it's not that much of an advantage because the average Olympic Village accommodation should be pretty good too, you know.
NBC sent Colin Jost to come to be the announcer at the Tahiti.
He got his
surfing.
I guess he got his foot messed up though.
Yeah, he got his foot messed up by like freaking tropical ants or something.
Yeah. They said he was saying he was in the medical tent more than any of the athletes.
Yeah. Yeah, they asked him,
Colin,
like, Colin, how's your foot? Are there still ants in it? He's like, yes, there are.
I did see that.
Anyway.
All right. We are
Gotta
now...
go back in time for the next topic.
We're going backwards to go forwards?
Yes. And sideways to go also forwards. Football. I don't know.
All right, so my last topic is a somewhat serious question. Now, you all have kids of various ages, and we're going to talk about something that will be forthcoming for all of you in the near or distant future. It's all something that we've done, and it's most likely inevitable for your little youngins. That's right, I'm talking about dating.
Uh-oh.
So, everyone, how do we plan on talking to our kids about dating?
Well, I mean, my kids already held hands with the girl at daycare. So there's...
All right.
We've already talked about having to tell their parents, like, look, we need to have a discussion here and set some boundaries.
I think what I am doing is initially just trying to build self-worth and self-esteem. And like the conversations that I'm having with Jamie now that she is pretty much, she's essentially a teenager. Now that I'm having the conversations I'm having with Jamie is about taking space in social relationships for herself. I think that reflects itself in dating. As far as the way I'm gonna be the fucking worst. Like the worst. And I've told Melanie this. I said,
Have you bought a gun yet, John?
I haven't, but I'm Italian, so I hope that helps. I said, Melanie, you have to keep me in check because I'm gonna be the worst.
No boy is gonna be good enough for Jamie.
I don't know how to not be the worst.
John.
But
I think that's expected.
Yeah.
I think that the only thing that I can give her is high self-esteem, a good value of self, because at the end of the day, when she's a teenager and she's in situations, she has to make decisions for herself. And I think that those are the basis of it. So, do I think that it's going well so far? I think so. Has she expressed, like, I mean, she's had crushes, like, but I think crushes at this stage are still kind of fun.
Yeah,
they're
they're just innocent little things.
They're like what you're supposed to do. So I don't necessarily think we're close, but I don't think we're far either.
Is that scary, or are you kind of like proud of her in a way too, I guess? Or...
I think that at the end of the day, and you guys probably already feel it, but we're on a roller coaster and there's no getting off, and every milestone is expected. So like
Janis is on 3 roller coasters, like hopping from seat to seat.
You want all the things.
That sounds terrifying.
Sorry, yeah.
You want all the things to happen. Like you want them to sleep in their own bed, and that you want them to have food likes, and you want them to maybe stay home by themselves. I mean, Jamie's done all these things, right? And you want them to maybe learn to ride their bikes, and you want them to maybe learn to swim, and you push all these things. And you have to push milestones with kids because they're not going to do them themselves. They're not going to be like, you know what I want to do? I want to go on a 5-mile run. Because they don't want to do that. They're kids.
I do.
I don't want to do that, and I'm an adult.
But what you do is you normalize that stuff, and you say, you know, like Jamie on Thursdays, Jamie, you're going to have to put yourself to sleep. Like, we're going to hang out, we're going to watch our movie, and then I'm going to leave, right? That's it. I'm going to leave, and you're good. And she's good, right? That works. And then for a while, though, like many years ago, like we had to stay there until she fell asleep. And you just got to push past milestones. So dating is just another thing. It's another thing to figure out. I need to probably get my.
Are you waiting for her to approach you before you guys talk about it, or do you think at
we've
some
had the
point?
Talk. I mean, she has. I mean, you've seen Jamie. Jamie looks like a grown-up. Jamie's the same size. It's the same height as Janis, right?
She's mature beyond her years.
I mean, that's not saying much. So.
Mature beyond our years. And so we've had a lot of the talks with Jamie because she has things that we need to talk about. Jamie had her period at 9. I mean, like, it just is what it is.
Janis, how old are your kids again?
6, 4, and almost 2.
Okay,
Janis, am I scaring you by having this topic? By the way,
no,
you're not that close to it.
You would terrify George.
Yeah,
terrify him.
I'm sure he's already worried about this.
I think I'm kind of a little like level-headed and like I think ahead and think through these kind of things. Not to say that I have it all put together, or like I know the answer or anything.
And the girls will be kind of. The girls will kind of be going through it at the same time, essentially.
Yeah, the interesting thing definitely will be like both sides of it. Like I'm gonna be raising a boy and be raising girls, and so kind of navigating both of those stories and figuring that out.
And they'll all be in high school at the same time, Janis.
They will all, well, not quite high school, but definitely all teenagers at the same time.
Oh yeah!
So,
yay! So actually, this
will be wild. It'll be
interesting angle of this is from the parents' perspective. Do you feel like the moms maybe are more level-headed or more like open-minded to these things, or like more prepared for their kids to take that social step? Because I feel like you always hear the stigma like the dads are just terrified. It's like oh my god, I never want to see them date until they're 27. You
will see that there are things on both genders that. There are things that I think are completely fine that Melanie thinks are completely wild. And there's things that Melanie thinks are completely fine that I think are completely wild.
Which I find fascinating.
Like staying up late, right? Like things like eating kind of what you want within reason. Like when we are different and we parent differently, but I think that's great because you need perspective in parenting. You need like people to think differently so that the child can make their own decisions, and
I don't think it's like gender based. I think personality plays a big role.
Right,
like George and I and our personalities and how they play together.
Sure, because they're right. There are plenty of outliers and exceptions and differences between from person to person, whatever their gender is.
I'm not scared of Jamie dating at all. I want Jamie to date. I want her to be happy. I want her to find a person. She deserves a person. Will that, if she brings home somebody with a face tattoo, will I be an asshole to him? Yes, I will be an asshole to somebody with a face tattoo if she brings him home. I mean, because you don't get a fucking face tattoo. Sorry, Mel, I'm sorry, but don't get a face tattoo.
This reminds me of my dad saying, when he first, came to pick up my mom for their first date, my grandfather, who I never got to meet on my mom's side, just goes to him and just gruff voice, "You got a job?" Like,
I mean, my father-in-law 100% threatened to kill me. 100%.
Yeah, that's their job.
yeah, that was.
Yeah, that definitely happened. I mean,
I
did
missed
not
those
happen.
times.
I was a trailblazer for you, Pete.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
To be fair, we were very different ages.
Side note, for anybody who doesn't know us personally,
Yeah.
Pete and I married
father-in-law.
sisters.
Yeah.
We have the same father-in-law. So
Yes, but you and Mel started dating
Pete comes
much
to Christmas
younger.
now, even though I met him in college, which is amazing. Yeah. It's really great for me.
Right, but I mean,
thanks, Pete.
Thanks, John. But I mean, you and Mel started dating at a much younger age, and I think that has a lot to do with it too. And it doesn't necessarily, age is not the thing. It's also maturity.
Keep in mind, when Mal first met you, you were a teenage punk.
Right.
Dating his baby girl.
I definitely didn't have a goatee. I did have a goatee.
Freaking 90s.
90s were weird. I was weird. I wear spants a lot. Spants were a real weird invention. Don't wear spants.
I don't know, Janice, do you have any funny stories from a early high school date that you were on where your dad terrified somebody or a mom?
No, my dad is not that kind of dad, which is funny. He's passive and quiet and laid back, and so just not that kind of dad.
Just kind of went with the flow, or was he concerned but didn't want to be brash and outbursty
yes,
about
more
it?
of that.
Okay.
More of that. Yeah.
You guys see the short after the first Inside Out came out, where the dad is trying to be mean to Riley's boyfriend. Boy, the memory, and
this is the new Inside Out.
No, it's the first one. They put out a little post short on the DVD, and it was essentially
yes.
the dad bonding with the boyfriend.
I do remember that. Yeah,
really funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's I was in a band. Oh, I was in a band. Amazing. We figured out. Honestly, at the end of the day, people are drawn to people they love.
I think communication's really important.
Yeah.
Communication with your kid. I mean, just letting them know it's a safe space. They can come to you. They can talk about those things.
Yeah, that's huge, right? If they feel like you can be their outlet for those things, as opposed to being afraid to approach you about them, that's a huge difference.
Your kids just want to be accepted and included and respected, and if you teach your kids that their opinions matter when they're young, then they will think their opinions matter when they're old. And Jamie tells us everything. She does. She tells us when her friends are mean. She tells us when she's sad. And we talk about it.
It's good space to be in, yeah.
Right. She's, Melanie in another life was a social worker and one of Melanie's social worker colleagues, and we're out of time. We'll finish with this. Melanie's social worker colleagues had looked at some of Jamie's drawings and said, oh, this is really interesting. Jamie continues to draw herself the same height as you guys. And I think the metaphor of the same height is something that is really good to think about, because if your kids are scared of you, they're not going to tell you things.
She is also really tall, so there's that.
I was gonna say she's the same height as you guys now.
That's true.
Does that give you enough info, Mark?
Maybe she was just predicting the future. It's this is what we're gonna look like one day.
Maybe. It's forward thinking.
She wears big heels.
Excellent.
Hey, Mark.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, that was sexy.
It's the final topic!
So you guys thought you'd get away without an MCU question, but you know where you are. So fans of the MCU are either reeling or angry from the news that came out of the San Diego Comic-Con this past week, and the revelation that RDJ The Robert Downey Jr. we all know and love will be returning to the MCU to play one of its biggest roles in Doctor Doom. So after deciding to move on from Jonathan Majors, Marvel needed a new big bad and chose probably its biggest. Now with the multiverse, anything is possible, and there are some ties to canon of Tony Stark becoming Doctor Doom on Earth 5012. But some fans are having issues with them not choosing from a multitude of different actors. And so, what do we think about this casting, the multiverse in general as a main story vehicle, and do you think Robert Downey Jr. can play such a complex character?
I mean, he can. He's shown that he's a pretty versatile actor. Personally, though, I don't like this pick. I don't.
No, I don't know enough about Doctor Doom, but
Well, it's him as. And by the way, when did we start calling him RDJ?
Always. Jesus.
I never heard that about him until he got named Doctor Doom. But it's an iconic role for him as Iron Man.
It's probably next to Spider-Man, and next to Spider-Man is probably one of the biggest roles in the Marvel universe.
So,
yeah.
guys, I have a question about this. Now, I've been hearing that this is canon in the comics that Tony Stark, right, Iron Man, becomes Doctor Doom. How does this work?
And I mentioned Earth 5012. So in Earth 5012.
Whoa, what is Earth 5012? Rewind.
So there's a multiverse, and the main Earth is Earth 616. So in Earth 5012, Tony Stark, the Tony Stark that we all know, in Earth 5012, does not become Iron Man. He becomes Doctor Doom. And on top of that, he goes through a portal in Comertage in Earth 5012 to Earth 616 and becomes, so they didn't really have great names back in the 70s. He becomes the Iron Maniac. And the Iron Maniac is a very bad Earth 616 villain and actually takes down a lot of main story arc characters.
Is it an evil Iron Man?
It is an evil Iron Man. So I think in the current, and they did a lot of work. Anybody who's seen Deadpool and Wolverine, they did a lot of work with core characters in timelines. Core characters being one of the main reasons that they brought Wolverine back. So core characters can come back anywhere. So they made a precedent for a universe to get a core character back. So, what's his face? Wolverine comes from his failed universe, and he comes back to the universe that Deadpool needs him to be, and he saves the Deadpool universe. So, do I think that he's going to be Victor Von Doom? A little bit, and just because the Russo said Victor Von Doom a bunch of times in the reveal, do I think it would make more sense with the current rules that he comes back as evil Iron Man? Yes, that's what I would rather see.
Wasn't he literally wearing a Doctor Doom mask?
He was, because there's a Doctor Doom reveal.
Yeah.
And Iron Man, Tony Stark becomes Doctor Doom in this canon universe. So, do I think that that's the storyline that they're going to do? Maybe. Do I think that the reason that Deadpool and Wolverine was the movie it was, and the reason they picked Doctor Doom and the reason they picked RDJ is because the MCU is reeling? I think that's probably true too. They're going with what works. And the last time they wanted to save Marvel, they used Robert Downey Jr. And I think they're like, well, it'll work before, it'll work again.
That's true.
So if they use that storyline and they use that arc, then I think I'd be a little bit okay with it. But you're right. They kept calling him Victor Von Doom. So
they did.
It made me think that they're not doing that.
They did keep calling him Victor Von Doom.
Does he just assume that name then? Or is it right? Is he Tony Stark as Doctor Doom, or is he literally a different person like that? Yeah, I guess that's the mystery.
Yeah, Victor Von Doom was a completely different person.
Right. I don't know. I don't know how much you know of this, Janis. Yeah. Like I know some of these comic things, and
so let's talk about.
I haven't watched Deadpool and Wolverine yet, which I really want to.
I don't know the history of stuff or like the comic book side of stuff.
Well, what do you think? Just
the movies. I've seen the movies.
Gotcha.
Let's back it out from all the specific nerdiology because we could I could get lost in that. But you guys don't give a shit about that. What do you think about taking a character who played one major story arc character and saying, "All right, he's now this guy"?
It's a challenge for sure.
It's not the same person. Like, he's playing a completely different...
We're not sure, and we just have to assume he's playing a completely different character.
Yeah, if he's playing a completely different character, I don't like that. Like,
I
I don't like
I don't
it.
think I
Yeah,
don't think the
that's tough
majority of
to
people are going to
stomach, yeah.
accept it either because it's
And
like
the
that's Iron
majority-
Man.
He's a great actor. That's great, but like, I don't know.
The majority of the
He's Iron
world
Man.
is
Yeah.
a little pissed off.
Yeah, it takes away
And
from like the like fantasy of the story. To, like,
unfortunately, there's a lot of memes
agree.
from Robert Downey Jr. possibly doing blackface in a number of movies like Tropic Thunder, and he's like, "Oh, look, Robert Downey Jr. is now playing Kang. Playing Kang. Okay, that's not racist at all. Shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, this
okay.
is a hell of a gamble by the Russo brothers, right?
It is.
Well, no. So what happened is Robert Downey Jr. actually told Kevin Feige he would not come back unless the Russos were directing this movie, and so that
And
is
they
why
are,
the
yeah.
Russos are directing Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. Now, Robert Downey Jr. aside, I think that Doctor Doom always should have been the main arc villain. I think that Kang was
He's a good villain. He's a good villain.
Kang was a real stretch, and I
Yeah.
think Doctor Doom is much more Marvel-centric, like Thanos Marvel-centric.
From the
he's
little that I know, right, he seems like a much more also personable thing, and that's Marvel's shtick, right? It's like we're gonna make even the villains three-dimensional and what's the word, like you can understand their perspective.
I mean, you felt for Thanos.
Yeah.
You felt for him. That was why
Like,
it was
he
so good.
truly believed he was doing the right thing.
And he truly loved Gamora, like because the Soul Stone wouldn't have worked unless he loved her.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have worked. So
like that's the whole. If that's the whole point, I mean, right. It sounds like this, like the Doctor Doom character, which I don't know much about the Fantastic Four or Doctor Doom, but from the little I know, it sounds like it's a very deep character with a lot of like three-dimensional issues and good and bad mixed together and
other interesting stories from Hall H in this past San Diego Comic-Con, which was this week. Pedro Pascal, who is going to be Reed Richards' Mr. Fantastic, stretchy guy. He apparently has an anxiety disorder, so he kept holding Vanessa Kirby's hand, Vanessa Kirby, who's going to play Sue Storm. And she was very supportive of this kind of awkward man being very close to her, which I thought was really interesting. So I like that casting a lot. And
it seems like good chemistry then.
I really like the casting. I don't know the kid who's playing the Human Torch, Johnny Storm, but the guy who's playing Ben Grimm, Eben Moss-Baccarat from The Bear, is perfect, spot on perfect. I think he's going to do a great job. So I'm excited for the Fantastic Four, maybe a little more than I'm excited for the for Avengers Doomsday. But I'm excited for the whole thing because I'm a fanboy. So who gives a shit, right?
So here's a fun.
Because we love Marvel.
Yes. Here's a fun thought experiment. So you guys remember, right? Speaking of Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom and all that, the Human Torch in the first Fantastic Four movie, which was not Marvel Cinematic Universe affiliated.
Are you about to give something away, Peter?
No, he hasn't seen it. He's just talking about it.
I'm just saying the old movie, right? Chris Evans was the Human Torch. And then they were like, never mind, he's Captain America.
We know, Pete.
How would we have felt about that if he had been Captain America the whole time? And then they were suddenly like, you know what? He's going to be the Human Torch now. That's kind of
Pete,
how people feel about this DJ thing.
And it's just really interesting that you said that.
It's so funny.
Okay.
You got to watch Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh,
it's really very
did they go into that?
It's really interesting that you brought that.
You got to watch Deadpool.
Okay. I do. No, I really want to watch the movie. It seems amazing.
Yeah, I got to see that too. So
it was very, very
just
good.
to see those two actors play off each other.
That you brought that up. They were very good. It was very good.
Okay.
It was for anybody who didn't like Deadpool and Wolverine because it was too fan servicey or too fourth wall-y or there were too many cameos. You've never seen a Deadpool movie. You've never read a Deadpool comic. I mean, it's literally the thing that they do.
That's his thing.
I mean, it's the whole point.
Dude, has Deadpool ever gone up against Mojo? Because I feel like that would be fun to see what would happen.
That would be fun to see.
Has that ever happened?
We are at time, but the last thing I wanted to say is that they asked Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman what was next, and they want to do something with Tom Holland and Spider-Man. And I think that'd be really cool.
Why not?
They're going to have lots of adventures.
John, I have a question. So out of all the three Deadpool movies, is Deadpool and Wolverine your favorite?
Yes.
Really?
Though
Ooh.
I think Deadpool 1 was maybe a better movie. Deadpool and Wolverine was a little short on story.
Too much,
story-
like more fan service oriented than story.
I think that the story was more. I mean, the whole thing is a metaphor for the death of the Fox universe. Literally, the whole movie is a metaphor for it. and so and they're not pulling punches. It's an actual Fox.
Oh, it's
universe.
so obvious. It's so obvious.
It is so obvious, Pete, that at one point in the void there is a 20th century Fox statue that is fallen apart.
That's
literally not pulling punches. They're saying, "Okay, this is done."
Also
dead.
an homage to Planet of the Apes.
Oh, true, yeah.
And so,
I like that.
I think that Deadpool 1, if we're just ranking movies, was probably a better movie, but I enjoyed 3 more. And 2 was not very good. And what's interesting is Sean Levy directed 2 and 3 and not 1. So I think he figured it out somewhat. But at one point, and we'll leave you with this, at one point, Ryan Reynolds talking about bringing Wolverine back was met with arguments from the fans that they would have to dig up Wolverine's cold, dead corpse. And so everyone who has seen the movie knows that that is very relevant. And there we go.
Stop telling us things now.
It's really making me want to see this movie before I get
Just
all...
go see the movie. Just go see the
good.
movie.
All right.
All right, are we ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that has been our topics. As a reminder, we broadcast these live on YouTube every Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. Although we will be off next week. If you can't catch us live, yes. If you can't catch us live, feel free to watch us on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/@iftheseballspod. And don't forget to subscribe to us by clicking that little bell. We would like to thank our guests for joining us this week. Thank you, Janis.
Thanks, Janice.
No problem.
You can also follow or like us on our socials at iftheseballspod on X, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and TikTok. Our website is www.iftheseballscouldtalkpod.com. This is Mark Pesci, and for my partner John Campagna and producer Pete Steffen, that's what we feel they would say if these balls could talk.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Damn, for like 2 seconds. The song's about to start. Oh my god.
Oh, did I go too fast?
Nope, you're good.
That's what she said.